Good afternoon, everybody. So I'm here to talk about strabismus surgery, the basics. So the checklist includes assessment of vision by age-appropriate test for recognition of amblyopia and the binocular status. So full cycloplegic refraction and proper correction is mandatory. Always do a prism cover test with glasses for both distance and vision and for both up gaze and down gaze. Always do the test for binocularity and look for the A and V patterns and for lateral incompetence. And even the systemic risk factors has to be taken into account. This is a 78-year-old male patient with a right hypertropia. He is a diabetic, hypertensive, and he had got an aortic aneurysm ruptured twice with a chronic renal failure. So I would think thrice or even 4 times before I take this patient for surgery. So what are the common mistakes in evaluation? Hirschberg alone is not sufficient, and we should not ignore the accommodative factors. And in any case of monocular squinting with very poor vision in the squinting eye, the refraction of the normal eye is a must. Always correct amblyopia before you take the patient for surgery, and poor cooperation is predicted in the age group of less than 2 years. So you make sure that you get a reliable and stable measurement before you jump in for surgery. So what are the tests on table? It includes deviation under general anesthesia, force reduction test, and spring back test of Jampolsky. So this is a video showing a force reduction test. So this distinguishes between the underaction due to restrictive or a paralytic strabismus. So after anesthetizing the cornea, the eye is held at the limbus with Pierce-Hoskins forceps and is passively moved, taking care that the globe is not pushed into the orbit, and the patient is asked to look in the direction of action of the paralyzed muscle to relax the antagonist. So coming to the anesthesia involved, so we can give a general anesthesia, local, subtenons, or a topical. So the sutures which are commonly used for muscle, we use 6-O-Vicryl, and this is a exam question. So Vicryl, why? It is a polygalactin which is made up of glycolic acid, lactic acid, which is a coated polygalactin 370 with calcium stearate, which makes the surface smoother and reduces the tissue drag. Conjunctiva is usually closed with 8-O-Vicryl, and 5-O-polyester is used for chicken suture, Fadden, and Foster. So always choose the right surgical procedure and the technique you are experienced with. And this is from Dr. Pradeep Sharma's book, For Getting Your Numbers Right. So these numbers are just a general guideline. So they should be modified based on the surgical experience. At least do at least 50 to 60 cases initially, and each of us has to painfully work it out. This is also for exam going purpose. So 1 millimeter of medial rectus corrects up to 3 prism diopters. For less than 2 years, it's around 4.5 prism diopters. And 1 millimeter of lateral rectus corrects around 2 prism diopters. And medial rectus and lateral rectus is in the ratio of 2:3. The medial rectus has got a lesser arc of contact, and lateral rectus is a much forgiving muscle. So if you combine resection and recession, you get a 25% bonus. And these are the limits. For vertical recti, minimum is 2 millimeters, maximum is 5 millimeters. For horizontal recti recession, medial rectus minimum is 3, below which it doesn't work, and maximum is 6. And lateral rectus minimum is 4 and maximum is 8. For horizontal recti resection, medial rectus minimum is 3 millimeters, the maximum is 6, lateral rectus is 4.5 and 9. So preoperatively, you can give the patient topical antibiotics, cleaning and drapal as usual. Blade speculum is usually preferred. So coming to the incision. So we have the limbal based incision, fornix incision, paralimbal, and over the muscle incision or swan, and minimal incision strabismus surgery. So weakening procedures, most common involved is a recession, followed by tenotomy, myectomy, Botox injection, and inactivation. Strengthening procedures includes resection, tucking, plication, and advancement. So coming to the muscle exposure. So before you exercise a muscle, always do a force reduction test on table. And the conjunctiva is incised with the blunt end scissors. and 2 radial incisions are made in the conjunctiva. The intramuscular septum in the supranasal and the infranasal is buttonholed. So then the muscles are hooked, first with the von Graffius hook, which is passed hugging the sclera. Then with the Green's hook, which is passed, ensuring that the entire muscle is being hooked. Then the check ligaments and the intramuscular septum are separated under direct vision, preventing any injury to the vessels, fascia, or the muscle sheath. And excess of any Tenon's capsule in and around the muscle insertion is carefully excised. Coming to the recession, after you hook the muscle, so interlocking loops of 6-vicryl needles are passed and the knot is secured at the ends of the muscle insertion. This is done on the either side, opposite side with the reverse suture. Then the muscle is carefully cut. This is 2-1-1 through. So muscle is carefully cut with the tenotomy scissors, leaving a stump of around 0.5 millimeters. So the measurement for recession with calipers are made from the upper and the lower ends, which are never directly handled with the fixation forceps to prevent any induced shift. Always hold the fixation forceps perpendicular to where you have marked. Now 2 spatulated needles are passed paralimbal away from each other, ensuring a width of about 8 to 10 millimeters. You should be able to see the length of the needle throughout. Then the sutures are tied with the surgical knots, and the other person holds the knot to prevent any slippage. And it's better to leave the long at the ends. Next, coming to resection. So measurement of resection is made with the calipers, ensuring that the muscle is not stretched during the marking. Then the second hook is passed. Make sure you don't stretch the muscle too much. Then 2 double-armed 6-vicryl sutures are passed full thickness in interlocking fashion to hold the muscle. This is repeated on the other side in the reverse direction. Then the muscle is cut carefully, leaving a stump of around 0.5 millimeters. Then the needles are passed through the stump so that the upper and the lower pair has at least 5 millimeters of separation. So we all know that the sclera anterior to the muscle insertion is thick and posterior is very thin. So chance of perforation is higher posterior to the insertion. So attach the muscle closer to the insertion. Make sure there is no sagging of the muscle. This is repeated on the other side. If at all there is any sagging, additional suture is always put. The conjunctiva can be closed with either tissue glue or with the 8-vicryl suture according to the surgeon's convenience. Thank you.